Let me ask you something. Have you ever met someone in their 40s or 50s who quietly says something like, I wish someone told me this earlier? Not about relationships, not about health, about money. Because the truth is, most people spend the first half of their lives learning about money the hard way, not in school, not from textbooks, not from motivational Instagram posts, but through mistakes, through stress, through watching opportunities pass by, through that quiet moment when you check your bank account and realize time moved faster than your financial plan. And here's the strange part. The biggest lessons about money are actually very simple, but they're also a little uncomfortable. They challenge things we've believed for years. And today, I want to walk through 5 brutal truths about money that most people only understand when it's already late. Not to scare you, but to give you the clarity most people never get until decades later. Because once you see these truths clearly, your relationship with money changes forever.
Truth number 1. Hard work alone rarely makes people wealthy. Most of us grew up hearing the same formula. Work hard, be responsible, stay loyal to your job, and eventually, you'll be financially secure. It sounds logical, but if you look around carefully, something doesn't quite add up. Some of the hardest working people in the world are not wealthy. Construction workers, nurses, restaurant staff, taxi drivers. Many of them work longer hours than executives, yet financially they struggle more. So what's going on? The uncomfortable truth is this. Income from labor has limits. You only have 24 hours in a day. Even if you work harder, even if you push yourself, your time eventually hits a ceiling. Wealth usually comes from something different. Ownership, owning assets, owning businesses, owning investments. Things that grow even when you're not working. That's why someone who invested consistently for 20 years can sometimes earn more from investments than someone working full-time. Not because they worked harder, but because their money started working. Most people discover this truth in their 40s, when they realize time matters more than effort.
Truth number 2. The system quietly rewards patience, not urgency. Here's something interesting about money. The financial world moves slowly, but human psychology moves fast. We want quick results, quick profits, quick upgrades, quick financial wins. But markets, savings, investments, they operate on a completely different timeline. Think about compound growth for a moment. In the beginning, it looks boring. You save a little, you invest a little, and nothing dramatic happens. Months pass, sometimes years, and it feels like you're barely moving forward. That's the phase where most people quit. But something strange happens after enough time passes. Growth starts accelerating. The curve that once looked flat suddenly bends upward. And suddenly, those small contributions from years ago begin multiplying. The brutal truth is that money rewards people who can tolerate boredom, people who can keep going even when progress feels invisible. Most people only realize this later, after they've spent years chasing shortcuts that never worked.
Truth number 3. Lifestyle inflation is the quietest financial trap. Let's say someone gets a raise. This should improve their financial life. But what usually happens, their apartment gets bigger, their car gets nicer, their subscriptions multiply, vacations become more expensive, and slowly their spending grows at the exact same pace as their income. This phenomenon has a name: lifestyle inflation, and it's incredibly powerful because it doesn't feel like a mistake, it feels like progress. You tell yourself, I deserve this, I worked hard, everyone at my office lives like this. And maybe you do deserve nice things. There's nothing wrong with enjoying your life. But the problem appears when every raise gets consumed immediately, because then income grows but wealth never does. Years later, many people look back and realize something painful. They earned good money, but they never built real financial security. Not because they were irresponsible, but because their lifestyle quietly expanded faster than their investments.
Truth number 4. Financial stress is often psychological, not mathematical. Here's a question that might sound strange. Why do some people earning $40,000 feel calm about money, while others earning $200,000 feel constant stress? It doesn't always come down to math. It often comes down to psychology. Money interacts with fear, status, identity, and social comparison. We compare our homes, our vacations, our cars, sometimes with neighbors, sometimes with coworkers, sometimes with people on social media who we've never even met. And suddenly, enough never feels like enough. Someone making a solid income might still feel behind because someone else appears to be doing better. But appearances are deceptive. Debt can look like success from the outside. Leasing can look like wealth. Credit can look like freedom. The brutal truth is that financial peace rarely comes from impressing other people. It comes from lowering the noise, spending intentionally, and defining success for yourself instead of copying someone else's version.
This last truth might be the hardest one, because it's invisible. You can recover from bad investments. You can rebuild savings. You can learn from mistakes. But there is one resource that never comes back: time. The difference between investing at 22 and investing at 35 can be enormous. Not because the younger person is smarter, but because compound growth simply had more time to operate. It's like planting a tree. The earlier it's planted, the more shade it eventually provides. But here's the important part. This truth isn't about regret. It's about awareness. Because the moment you understand how powerful time is, you stop waiting for the perfect moment. You start small. You start imperfectly, but you start. And that single decision changes your financial trajectory more than any clever investment trick ever could.
So how do these truths actually play out in normal life? Imagine someone in their late 20s. They're working a regular job. Rent is expensive. Groceries are rising. They're trying to balance saving with enjoying life. Instead of chasing some dramatic financial overhaul, they focus on a few quiet shifts. They start investing small amounts consistently, nothing dramatic, maybe the price of a few takeout meals each week. They resist upgrading every part of their lifestyle when their salary grows. They build a small emergency cushion so unexpected expenses don't create chaos. And slowly, something powerful happens. Their financial stress begins shrinking, not because they became rich overnight, but because their system became stable. And stability is incredibly underrated in a world obsessed with speed. Most financial success stories aren't dramatic. They're quiet, consistent, almost boring from the outside. But over a decade, those small habits create enormous difference.
Here's the reality. Almost everyone learns some money lessons late. Even financially successful people, even investors, even entrepreneurs. Because money is not just numbers. It's behavior, it's emotion, it's patience. And most of us are figuring those things out as we go. The good news is that financial progress doesn't require perfection. It just requires awareness. The moment you understand these truths, your decisions start shifting. Maybe you invest a little earlier. Maybe you spend a little more intentionally. Maybe you stop comparing your timeline to someone else's highlight reel. And slowly, quietly, your financial life starts moving in a better direction. Not perfectly, but steadily. And when it comes to money, steady progress usually beats perfect plans. Every time.